Welcome to another episode of Can Sports 1 Hour. I am one of your hosts, Mark Adam. I am sitting alongside my co-host, Narv Mulchan. Narv, how's it going?
Good, Mark. How are you?
Doing all right. I am ready for another week of this. We were not here last week. We did the My Big Five first episode last week. That was pretty cool. So definitely head to the website. Check that out, CanSportsOne.ca. But today, we're going to start with thanking our sponsors. Narv, if you want to go ahead there.
Yeah, of course. So for special thanks to our sponsors today, the CanSportsOne Foundation, helping kids play organized sports, New Spades Sound and Entertainment, bringing the noise, and A Little Pizza Heaven, the best pizza this side of heaven.
All right, so top story today, we're going to lead with this. Our ticket prices ridiculous. We are talking about major sporting events. The World Series is on right now. There were tickets available online for purchase. 2 seats, $15,000. That's excessive to me. Average ticket price for the World Series, $3,300. Average ticket price for a World Series game.
That's 1 seat.
1 seat. 1 human being. 1 butt. 1 chair. Probably not even a very comfy chair. You're just allowed in the building for $100.
Still have to buy your own beer.
And of the 4 major sports in the U.S., or in North America, it's the most expensive ticket.
And we discussed this now, but then you look at the size of contracts too. I mean, MLB players are probably making the most out of any of the 4 professional sports leagues.
Well, this is how they make that money.
Exactly.
$3,300 is not a small amount of money. It's a lot of money. And I mean, the Super Bowl, people are, the Super Bowl is the most, it's the biggest, most expensive event. It's not. $2,500 to $3,000 as an average ticket price. That's expensive, but not as expensive as the World Series.
No. And then when you touch base with the NFL there, 70% of those tickets for the Super Bowl are distributed internally. So good luck trying to find the other 24.
Well, true. The other part of it is that the Super Bowl is 1 game. So that's $2,500 to $3,000 once. It's a 7-game series in the World Series, and God forbid it goes 7 games, because that as the series goes on, the ticket prices just exponentially rise. So NBA Finals are an average ticket price of $800 to $1,000. Game 7 average ticket price being $2,800, and the Stanley Cup Finals is the cheapest, believe it or not, $565 to $660 average ticket price for a game during the Stanley Cup Finals. None of those are cheap.
None. Not one of those tickets at all. And, I mean, the only one that you can honestly say that is affordable, obviously, by the price tag is the $565 here that you see for the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
It's an expensive night all around. I mean, from getting to the stadium, you got to pay for parking, and then you're obviously going to treat whoever you're out with, let it be your family, let it be your spouse. It's going to food and drinks and so on. It could really be an expensive, very, very expensive night.
There is an organization, or there's a few organizations, but one in particular that they want to allow real fans of the sport an opportunity to get face value tickets during the championship game, and that's in the Big Ten network. There's a company called Shoowin, like SHOOWIN, and they partnered with Big Ten to give those fans. So how it works is you subscribe, you become a subscriber, or you make a reservation through shoowin.com for $10, right? As low as $10, and then you can buy and share like throughout the season as your team gets better or worse. But you literally pick a team. So if you're at Alabama, right? So you pick that team, and if they make the final, you can buy your ticket at face value. So that's how that works. So if your team doesn't win, then you're just out $10. Like if they don't, you're basically placing a bet on yourself being able to go to the game, and all you're out is $10 if you don't if your team doesn't make it to the championship game. So if your team makes it, you have an opportunity to buy what would normally turn out to be like $1,000 ticket for the whatever the 70, 80 bucks, whatever the ticket price of that game would normally have been. So I think that more programs like this should exist and more partnerships like that have to form. I think that's great.
I think it's great too. It's really good for business, especially when you say the Big Ten. I mean, everybody knows what the Big Ten is, and that's only going to go over to the Pac-12 as well as the SEC. And then if college sports are going to make the jump and do that, hey, I mean, the NFL could be right behind them, the NBA as well. Professional leagues could definitely follow suit.
Pardon me there for hacking up a lung. Tea went down wrong. Very professional of us, I know. But no, I think you're right. I think because college sports are huge, especially college football in the States. So the ability to buy a ticket at a reasonable price and actually attend the big game, because a lot of people, like, they follow college ball. They don't even care about the NFL.
No.
Right? So you got those fans. But for the ability for them to go to, like, their Super Bowl, like, well, that's the game, right? That's the game all year. That's what your school's trying to get to, is that game. And if you're a big supporter of that, of essentially the college sports, that's absolutely monstrous. And I think that's absolutely great. And there should be, again, there should be more partnerships like this. So yeah, I mean, good kudos to Shoe In and Big Ten for coming together to really try and make that accessible based on, like,
For people, yeah.
well, you know, the big four sports are just it's kind of expensive as it is to go see a game.
It really is. I mean, I was mentioning to you off air before, paying $800 for a Christmas Day game to see the Lakers play.
But you felt like that was okay.
It did feel like it was okay because I personally thought that that was going to be a $2,000 ticket on Christmas Day. So when I saw $800 after taxes, I was like, oh my God, like, is this for real? So I was saying to myself as if, like, it is affordable at some point. But then I looked at you look at the cost of inflation. That was in 2012. Now I wouldn't even look at the prices. I mean, it's already in triple figures there. So it's tough now.
Yeah, and that's
for
fair.
Christmas.
Yeah, I get that. I guess I don't pay $800 at all. Like, what's the most expensive ticket you've ever bought? Be it like sports or a music concert or whatever. What's the most? Is that $800 the most?
No,
you've ever
the
spent?
next year I paid $900 for the Miami Heat at the Los Angeles Lakers Christmas Day game. So yeah.
So you're a sucker for ball.
I am a sucker.
That's a lot of money, man. I think the most expensive thing I've done is bought a Jets playoff ticket, which was, I think, $250.
When the Ducks
And I felt like I was completely, like, that was way too much money, but I was happy I went. But the whole time I'm just like, this piece of fabric under my butt cost me $250. Anyway, it is what it is. Let's move on for now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the World Series.
Well, that's already in full swing here. I mean, I saw a lot of tweets going out yesterday that yesterday's game was action-packed. It was late night. I mean, how many home runs you were saying that there was?
Eight home runs combined between both teams
in a World Series.
In a World Series, and it went to the 11th inning. Like, there was extra innings. It had everything that baseball fans want. It had everything that people who aren't baseball fans want. Because I'm honest. I'm not a huge baseball guy. I can't give myself to an entire season of baseball. I just can't. There's too many games. Yeah. It's too slow paced. I'm used to the hockey side of things. I'm used to football. I mean, football can be slow at times, but there's always something happening. Where with baseball, the pace of the game just needs to be picked up, especially like throughout the season. So it's hard for me to get into baseball until you have games like last night, where it's tied 3-3, and then it's 5-3 in the 10th inning all of a sudden, but then they score 2 runs to tie it up. So now we're going to another extra inning. Like, it's just that it was very exciting to watch, and I'm not a baseball guy first. Like, that is, of the 4 major sports in North America, that is by far my least favorite is baseball. So for me to kind of get like, and to get pumped about the LA Dodgers and the Houston Astros. Like, two teams that I haven't seen a single game of all year because they're not the Toronto Blue Jays, and I live in Canada. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was crazy to watch that and be excited about it, being like, wow, like this is crazy right now. 8 home runs. There was the fans that were in that stadium. I bet you they felt like their 3,300 average ticket price was justified. But it was something else to watch. So the series is tied now, 1-1.
1-1. Game 3. I mean, both teams are just going to have their work cut out for them. You know, it's like a 0-0 World Series again, right? It's almost like they're back at game
Yeah,
one,
and now
right?
now it's a best of 3.
Best of 3 and see what's going to happen. And I mean, 34
Or
of the
best
last.
Best of 5. Sorry.
It's,
Like,
because it's a 2-3-2 format.
Yeah, and yeah. So it's gonna be. I'm gonna watch the next couple of games now because that was so exciting, and now we have a tie. Like the game was tight. The series is tied. Like it's everything that baseball wanted to have happen is happening.
right
It's
now.
making it as exciting as it possibly can be. And again, for baseball fans, but also for people who aren't necessarily baseball fans, like myself, who watch when there is something going on. And right now, there's something going on. Like it's very exciting with these two teams that are both, hungry. They were arguably the two best teams in baseball in July, and now they're in the World Series. So
I mean, they both were 100 victory teams. So
well, okay. So I mean that says it right there.
Right
You got
there.
two powerhouse teams hungry for a championship that, the Yankees fans expect to win, that the Red Sox fans expect to win every year. Like they just expect to be in the show.
and they're not.
And they're not there. And so, the Yankees and Judge eliminated by Houston, and that's exciting. Like if they're beating the $200 million Yankees, like
for a postseason run at
right, and now
Series?
they're going against another juggernaut in the Dodgers. Like it's great. It's making for great, exciting sports. So
and the fans seem to love it. I mean, it was all over. Like every highlight was about the World Series yesterday.
absolutely, and
So-
as it should
or
be.
sorry, this morning. What I meant.
This
yeah.
morning, yeah. The whole rundown. There wasn't a whole lot going on. There was a couple basketball games yesterday or whatnot, but the World Series was the story of yesterday. So
Yeah, that definitely hijacked everyone's attention. yesterday,
absolutely.
for
And
sure.
again, not a baseball guy, and I had my eyes glued to that TV. I'm telling you, like it was exciting to watch. So let's see what happens in Game 3. We'll be talking about that again on our next episode. As we have, by the time we actually shoot our next episode, the series should be over. So we'll have a big breakdown and recap. Until then, enjoy the World Series. And even if you're not a baseball person, take it from someone who is not a baseball person. You should be watching this series. So keep on top of that. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with my favorite segment, the Yay or Nay. Welcome back. You are watching the CanSports 1 Hour on CanSportsOne.ca and the CS1 network. We want to take some time right now to thank one of our sponsors. We're going to thank A Little Pizza Heaven. A Little Pizza Heaven is a locally owned Winnipeg business that's been around for over 10 years. We've grown to 3 stores and a food truck in recent years as our delicious crust has been talked about throughout the city. We make our own dough and use fresh ingredients. Come try the best pizza this side of heaven at our flagship Osborne location, 120 Osborne Street, our St. Anne's location, 160 St. Anne's Road, or our fully licensed Madison Square location, 1600 Ness Avenue. I was actually there the other day, and it was that good. It's very good.
You speak highly of this. I'm going to have to go over there and give that a shot.
It makes no sense to me that you haven't tried this yet. It makes no sense.
And they have a St. Anne's location, and me being a St. Vital kid, that's not far from the house.
True, and but my new favorite location is their Madison one because they also sell beer.
So that's a licensed location. Okay.
Beer and pizza, and they have deals on it. It's pretty awesome. Sorry, back to the read here. At the Madison Square location, you can enjoy the Jets game on our 65-inch screens. We have beer specials on every game. We also have happy hour Monday to Friday, 4 to 7, and all day Sunday for football fans. There you go. So maybe we'll take a Sunday and it's one of those family friendly kind of places that also serves booze, so I can bring my daughter, which is helpful for me. Bring your sports team in after your games, and A Little Pizza Heaven will sponsor you. Come down and ask your server for details. All locations are open at 11 a.m. for lunch and go till late every day of the week. Check out our website for more information or to order online, alittlepizzaheaven.ca. Thank you very much to our sponsor. So it is now time for A Little Pizza Heaven, yay or nay. This is my favorite segment on the show. A Little Pizza Heaven, the best pizza this side of heaven. Here's where we decide whether we agree or disagree with the headline as it's read. First up, are the Packers done without Aaron Rodgers? Narv.
Yay.
I have to say yay. I'm with you there. I think... this is not his first time breaking his collarbone. He's going to be out for the whole season. I think Hundley, who's backing him up, decent quarterback, has got a lot of moves. I don't think he's not Aaron Rodgers, and the system they have depends so highly on having an Aaron Rodgers. Like no player is like Aaron Rodgers, so you're running plays and designing things, knowing that if everything falls apart, Aaron Rodgers will still make something out of it. The guy is like an expert play extender. That is the way he moves in and outside the pocket. Like, it can't be replicated, and I think their season is toast.
Yeah, toast. He's definitely the guy who carries his team, or want to say he drives the bus for this organization. So the fans of Green Bay, it's going to be tough for them to pull out a postseason win, a postseason push. But I'm interested to see how this team will deal with this adversity, because he's been a leader for this team year in and year out. They've depended upon him all of the time. So, you said his backup quarterback is decent, but is he dependable? Is he reliable? And we're gonna find out.
He's a dependable quarterback, I think, from what I've seen of him play. The problem is he's not Aaron Rodgers, and the Packers have too many other injuries and other problems to overcome that if you have an Aaron Rodgers, you can overcome. But without Aaron Rodgers, I don't like, and I don't mean any offense to Hundley by any means. And as a Packers fan, I always let people know like where my allegiances lie. I am a Packers fan. I love the Packers, and I think the season's over for us as a fan base. I think we really need to cheer them on. Hopefully, like, they have some individual successes. Jordy Nelson can make a lot of catches. If we get Adams and the other Rodgers, the tight end, hopefully they can have some success. Work on our running game a little bit. See if we can improve that. Use this as a real prep year for next year, because I think with the pieces that they have when they're healthy, the Packers are probably favored to win the Super Bowl. Like, they have all the right pieces, but not all of them are all healthy at the same time. I think they really need to shore up their defense. They're giving up too many points in a game, which with an Aaron Rodgers, again, is something that you can overcome by just scoring more points, right? Outscoring the opponents is how what the Packers have sort of looked at the last few seasons, so it's a little rough that way. Sorry, we've taken too much time on that. Let's move on to the next one. Is there something more the NFL can do to limit injuries? Is there something more the NFL can do to limit injuries? Narv.
Well, the CFL eliminated full padded practices just not too long ago. So I think that could be an incentive. But I don't understand. I mean, football, like, you're trained to hit. It's a hitting sport. It's leaves me confused. Like, I'm a yay for that. Like, they can. But is that enough? Like, just eliminating the padded practices? Because then how are you supposed to really replicate the like the game action, game situations?
How do you get ready for the actual battle part?
It just kind of leaves everybody kind of confused about, like you said, battle. Like, I mean, perfect example. I can't even talk anymore about that now, right? It's just like the battle. It's like, how are you going to go to war?
Yeah, fair. And I think the NFL is doing everything they can right now. I think we had a lot of injuries recently, including Aaron Rodgers' broken collarbone. There was a whole bunch of week 6 was a bad week for injuries. If you want to check that out, there is an article available on TSN, I think, or maybe it was ESPN. No, it was ESPN. It was the biggest injuries of week 6. Just Google that. There were some big ones, and I think they recognize that there are going to be injuries in the sport, and I think people playing that sport recognize there are going to be injuries. There is a reason that athletes get paid a certain amount of money, because they are inherently risking, life and limb, to be a little dramatic. But there's an inherent danger to the sport they're playing, which is why it's an understood thing. Like, you're getting paid this many millions of dollars. Go get fixed. Get back on the field. But the NFL now recognizes they can't be pushing people. It has to be properly done. There has to be a proper vetting of recovery, like making sure that concussions in particular, but broken bones are set properly to make sure that they're not re-injuring things, that they're not playing and potentially ending careers over coming back a week early. Like, well, we really need this game, so Aaron Rodgers all of a sudden has to play with a partially recovered fractured collarbone. Not a good idea. You know what I mean? So I think that there really isn't anything they can do more than what they're already doing. They just have to do more of what they're doing. They just have to, keep doing it and get the players, coaches, owners, everybody on the same page with the program that they're already running. So I don't think they really can do anything more to limit the amount of injuries. I mean, freak accidents are going to happen in any sport.
All the time, yeah.
All the time. I mean, referees get crushed every once in a while. Accidents happen, So it is what it is. I think they're doing what they can in the NFL, especially concerning concussions. There's a lot of controversy, lawsuits, this, that, and the other thing going on right now. They're acutely aware of what's happening, and they're actively working to better that all the time. So I don't have any suggestions other than what they're already doing to make things better for them. So I really think that they are doing what they can. And kudos to the NFL on that, for owning, so this is the thing that happened. We didn't treat this right. Let's do it right now on. So moving on to the next one. Is Steve Mason's career over if he doesn't win the next game? Steve Mason, goaltender, picked up by the Winnipeg Jets. First 3 games he started, 3 losses, 16 allowed goals. Save percentage, way in the basement.
He's done. I'm fully a yay for this. His career in the NHL is over. Send him down to the minors, or there's nothing wrong with, if the NHL doesn't work out for you, it's like, I think some guys need to just accept that and go make some money elsewhere. I mean, you have an opportunity, the guy has a skill set. I'm sure there's going to be minor league teams or teams in Europe that can utilize him. Maybe the NHL is just a little bit too much of jam on the toast for this guy.
He's a 9-year veteran, I think, of the NHL. No stranger to having struggling starts to seasons. I think he's not done if he doesn't win his next game. I think he's for sure in trouble, but I don't think his career is going to be over. So I'm an A on that. I think if he played for a team that wasn't the Winnipeg Jets, I think he'd be in a lot more trouble. But the Jets have this way of just sticking it out with guys that are underperforming for a little bit too long. And I think that is the only reason. I think Steve Mason's career is going to be saved by the fact that he's playing in Winnipeg. That, I mean, fan base wise, not so much, but organizationally, they forgive failure a lot. I mean, how long did they put up with Pavlik before they were like, okay, we're done? Right? And you signed Mason knowing he struggles in the early parts of seasons. He did so last year with Neuwirth. Steve Mason, by the way, second worst statistics for a goaltender in the NHL this year. Neuwirth in Philly, where Mason came from, second best statistics in the NHL this year, personal statistics, because he's started 3 games. He's got a win and 2 losses, but he's only let in 4 goals.
So, I mean, so
3 games, 4 goals, 1 win to show for it. Still a way better bet and a way better goaltender. Because, I mean, that just means that Philly's obviously not scoring enough, right? If you're letting in 4 goals in 3 games, and you only have 1 win to show for that, you can't blame the goalie there. 3 games, 16 allowed goals. When you got Connor Hellebuck, who's like 21st in the league right now, right? So he's in the top third of all goaltenders that have played. He's got 4 starts, I should say. He played 5 games because he went in there for Mason after he got yanked in the home opener. But Connor Hellebuck has 4 starts, 4 wins. He's stopped. He's allowing 2.32 goals a game. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. It's a heck of a lot better than Mason's doing. So, like, I think I believe they're starting Hellebuck today in Pittsburgh. So we'll see how that goes for Hellebuck. Pittsburgh's a tough rink to play in, first of all.
All the time.
2-time defending champs. Sidney Crosby,
Bonino. And then you have Evgeny Malkin, who just eats people.
Absolutely. And he's the story in Pittsburgh that people just never talk about. I don't know if it's because his English is poor, and but
he's a big deal. He doesn't get enough credit, doesn't get enough recognition.
There's actually an article, if you go to CanSportsOne.ca, there's an article written by one of our staffers. It actually talks about the top 100 list that was put out by the NHL, and was Evgeny Malkin snubbed on the list. The writer Brett Claggettwoods, he has some great arguments in there. Go to CanSportsOne.ca, have a read of that article. Was Gino snubbed?
It was one of our first articles, so you'll have to dig a little deep. But
I just run the search at the top; it'll be easy.
Okay.
But just read that article. Like, he's the story there. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about we're getting off track here. The point is, I don't think Steve Mason's career is over because he plays in Winnipeg. That's why I'm a nay. If he played in another market, if he had that kind of failure in Toronto, he'd be traded already. He'd have some other logo on his chest already, or he'd be off playing for the Marlies.
Yep.
So they don't put up with that kind of failure and that epic of a failure in Toronto. They do put up with that in Winnipeg, which is part of the problem in Winnipeg. But that's a whole other conversation.
We'll get into the next.
Let's move on to the next thing. What's the next thing, Narv?
Our big ticket sporting events. Our big ticket sport events, ridiculous prices fair.
We just talked about this in the first segment. If I don't think they're fair. You said they're fair.
I kind of feel that they are.
See, and I'm a nay. I think they're not fair. I don't think it's hard enough to afford regular season. It's hard enough to afford to take your family to any event, game-wise, in any of the major sports. So to say that paying several $1,000s for one seat is fair, it's not fair, because then it's literally just corporations that have the opportunity, or wealthy individuals. All of a sudden, the people who support the team all year can't afford to go. They're scraping their money together to be able to go all year, and then they can't afford to go to the big game when it happens to be available to them. Oh. Imagine the Winnipeg Jets make the
second round of the
Stanley Cup Finals. No.
Oh, there you go.
Imagine an alternate universe where that happens this year. that would be, I mean, how huge would that be for the city? But how inaccessible would that be for the people who live in this city?
Very inaccessible.
Right? Like you're talking about, it just, the population here, it'll sell out, but it won't be people who support the team all year. Right? That's the problem. And that's why I say it isn't fair.
Okay.
That's my argument.
All right. Okay, so the last note, we got 6 here. So number 5, was Crosby's 10-minute misconduct a one-off? I'm going to say a yay. I just think that, the NHL, allows a lot of chatter between the refs and the players. It's not basketball where it's like you say or even look at a ref in a funny way. You're going to hear that whistle and be technical foul. Hey, line it up. But that's why I like hockey, where you can say, hey, that guy slashed me, and then the ref will be like, no, he didn't slash you, no, let's go face off. You know what I mean? There's that.
Yeah, it's a different culture, I guess, between the referees and the players.
So I just kind of think that the ref just kind of let it get the best of him because it was Sidney Crosby. Because, you've seen this before with other players who are not Sidney Crosby, and refs don't take that type of action. So I'm going to say it. I'm going to say, yay, it was one-off.
But and I say nay.
Nay? Okay.
I say nay. I don't think it's a one-off. And because he chirps the referees all of the time, he should be given a misconduct much more often than he has. But he's Sidney Crosby. And he's the captain. You get a certain amount of leeway as the captain because you're the guy that is supposed to be talking to the officials if there's any issues. The way that he went about it in this way was the way he would have back when he was young and just, that passion. I love that he plays with that kind of passion. He took a penalty for a cross-check 56 seconds into the game, and that's where the whole thing went sideways on him. He ended up, he didn't agree with the call. They scored on that power play. Kucherov scored, and that was the game they got shellacked 7-1 in that game by Tampa Bay. They got run over. Tampa Bay, by the way, is on fire. So anybody upset that they're losing to Tampa Bay right now has to look at the stat sheet. They're not the only ones losing to Tampa Bay right now.
No.
The point is, he went after the referee as soon as he came out of the box. Then he went after the referee again. Then he went he just wouldn't drop it to the point where he's like, you know what? I've had enough. Get in the box. He was given the opportunity to shut his mouth. He said his piece. I heard you. I disagree. Move on. Right? So to your point, that conversation happened, but then it kept happening. And the referee eventually just was like, no, you're done.
That's enough.
Go have a seat. And to his credit, he sucked up the call there. He took the blame for the momentum change in the game. He took responsibility for his action costing the team. But I mean, you lost 7-1. That game got away from you. It happens. I love that he plays with the passion he plays with still after this many years. But yeah, you really got to check yourself and what you're saying and how you're saying it. And once you've had that conversation and the referee has heard you, nothing is going to change by you yelling at him. So I don't understand why you kept going, but I don't think it's a one-off. I think he plays with that kind of passion all the time. And now that he's on the referee's radar, let's keep an eye on how much leeway he gets before the referees are like, go sit down. So, okay. Real quick. We don't really have time for this, but we're going to do it anyway. Is facial recognition software the next logical step towards sports event security? There's been a lot of talk about NHL teams in particular taking on facial recognition technology to suss out people coming into the stadium, cross-referencing with convicted felons, that kind of thing in the neighborhood. Or people on any sort of watch list. Is that the next logical step in sports security? Go ahead.
Yay. Well, after you explained it to me the way that I thought this was just for, the safety of the athletes alone. Then you explained that to me off air before we went live, saying that no, this is for the fans. This is for us and everyone. And then they're fully on board because I was like, okay, well, you're just going to do it for the athletes and not do it. Then you cleared that up for me. So, no, fully, yay.
Well, then, okay. I also agree that it is the next step. The question then becomes, how many people are going to not go to sporting events because they don't want their face scanned? How many? Because
You
got people who are like conspiracy theorists, things like that. I don't want the government to have that much information about me. If they're scanning my face before every game that I go to, do I really want to?
The government knows everything about you.
I've pretty much given in.
You say that's how I feel about it too. Yeah.
I am full permissions yes to Google. I give up. I don't cover my my webcam on my computer. I give up. I give up. I have an Xbox One with a Kinect camera on it. I understand the ramifications security-wise. I get it. I don't care. In order to avoid it, you would almost have to just remove yourself from society. And at this point, we're this close to the singularity of AI taking over. It's unreasonable to assume that that's possible. So nope, I'm done.
I'm done as well.
Yeah. So, all right. So you are watching CanSports 1 Hour on CanSportsOne.ca and the CS1 network. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
You're watching the CanSports 1 Hour on CanSportsOne.ca and the CS1 network. We're just going to have another quick ad sponsor read here for you. New Spades Sound and Entertainment. Need a DJ? Hit up New Spades Sound and Entertainment. www.newspades.ca. Let New Spades hook you up with amazing sound for your next wedding, wedding social, barbecue, graduation, pool party, or patio party. Stay tuned to the website, www.newspades.ca, and check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, @NewSpadesSound. For upcoming contests and promotions, www.newspades.ca. New Spades Sound and Entertainment, bringing the noise.
Right on. Time now for the NBA update, brought to you by New Spades Sound and Entertainment. New Spades Sound and Entertainment, bringing the noise. We will have a look at the NBA. Let's have a quick look. First of all, who's in first place right now?
San Antonio Spurs, my team every year that I choose to win it because they have the best coach in the history of the NBA, Greg Popovich.
You're a big Popovich fan, eh?
I love him. I would do anything to play for him. I think the worst decision Corey Joseph and his agent ever did was getting him out of San Antonio. He was drafted by the San Antonio Spurs, won a title with the San Antonio Spurs,
and then pieced.
Goes home to Toronto, and then pieces out from Toronto. And then I believe he got traded to Indiana now. So, I would never want to leave playing for Coach Popovich.
So what do you think of them being number 2 on the power rankings, the NBA power rankings?
Don't agree with that.
They're first in the league, second in the power rankings.
And they're the only undefeated team in the league.
Yeah, they're 2-0. No, Houston's 3-0.
Houston's 3-0. Sorry, yeah, and then the Clippers as well 3-0, and then the San Antonio Spurs 4-0. No, I guess whoever wrote that article must work for ESPN or somebody like that. It might not be.
Well, actually, the power rankings are the same on NBA.
Ooh,
calm.
I don't
So
like that. No.
whether you like it or not, that's just
what
the
it is,
fact.
right? The
That's just
writers don't want the Spurs.
the Houston Rockets are number 1 in the power rankings. Number 2 is your San Antonio Spurs.
I like that. They're gonna creep up. The battle of Texas is always. I mean, Dallas has already, so they're on the decline right now. Dirk Nowitzki's definitely on the decline of his
He's doing
career.
what he can to hold things together, but he's older. He's aging.
And they locked him up in like 2002 to 2014 with that long-term contract, and like that guy played out that longevity of that contract and is only now declining, where he might retire after this year.
Okay, so without the injured Kawhi Leonard, could that be why they were listed as number 2 in the power rankings? Because he's hurt.
And they're still 4-0 without Kawhi Leonard.
Well, they got Aldridge too, right?
And he's finally stepping up. I mean, last year he had a very subpar season. I even think the fans in San Antonio were very like, well, you had a great career in Portland, and they couldn't get it going last year, so this is a good turnaround for him. And you know what? With Kawhi Leonard being out, this is a good opportunity for him to step it up. And he is going to have a lot of responsibilities on his shoulders now because Tim Duncan's gone, right? And this team has always had, I don't want to say like they molded their franchise around Tim Duncan, but they always had success as a team. Like they were never that one guy type of team. So I think this is his opportunity to, solidify himself into that role.
And that's fair. What do you think of the Warriors being 3rd?
I like it. They're not as
in the
good
power rankings.
In the power rankings, I mean,
their record doesn't reflect being 3rd in the power rankings. They're like what 1 and 3 or 2,
3-2 right now. It's early on in the season.
Did they won their last 2?
Yeah,
okay, because they were 1 and 2 at one point.
1 point, right? Yeah.
Not great.
No, for defending champs, no, not at all. But it doesn't cease to surprise me that the power rankings have them where they are at. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, they are the defending champions. They're going to have that level of automatic respect that's given to them because it's expected of them to win. But I don't know. They're 6th place seed here. They're not as good as they once were. And I mean, the Western Conference is always tight. I mean, you got Portland holding their own at 3-1. Houston.
Well, Cleveland is listed at number 4 in the power rankings.
And they're listed number 5. They're number 5 in the Eastern Conference. I mean, that's a team that they're not going to let the regular season define them. I mean, look at Boston. Last year they had the best regular season record at 54 wins and didn't produce anything in the playoffs.
That's fair.
And then the Cleveland Cavaliers came in and made it all the way to the
NBA
NBA
but the Cleveland Cavaliers, they use the regular season as warm up for the playoffs. Like that's I think more teams should really treat it that way. They should really shake up their lineups. They should do everything they can, play some guys in different positions, which is what the Cavaliers were doing. Mind you, they had their struggles, but I mean, like they had their actual struggles, not their like lineups not working out.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you got LeBron James, and now you also have like all these extra weapons, right? And I don't know. I think some big trades happening. I don't know. I think they're number 4 because people just assume they're going to be good, not because they've shown it yet.
Like that. That's exactly. And you explained this to me last year, and I said this on one of our shows before, that when I picked the Minnesota Wild to win the Stanley Cup, you have to look at teams who have experience winning playoff games, not regular season games, right? And rightfully so, the Cleveland Cavaliers in the last few years, have more victories in the playoffs than the Boston Celtics. So that's why going into last year, you saw the Cleveland Cavaliers dominate that. They've been there before on numerous occasions. LeBron James has been to those types of games with 3 different times, but with 2 different teams.
Yeah. So we got the Washington Wizards at 5, but you got the Toronto Raptors at 6.
I like the fact that you brought up the Washington Wizards. Looking at the Eastern Conference standings, the East is getting equally as tight as the West, right? And
the West has always been stronger.
Always, hands down.
A stronger conference as a whole. But the East is shaping up. And I think that comes with like a little more money coming in, this, that, and the other thing. What really shakes the balance of that is what we've talked about before, which is all the guys just deciding like, oh, I'm just going to go play with my buddy over here in Miami. Oh, I'm going to play with my buddy over here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
right? So you got like Dwayne Wade just going wherever the heck he feels like it, just because like, oh, we're gonna go play here now. Everybody else that was on the team, sorry, you're on the bench now. Like, I think that is less helpful to the like stability of the game. But all in all, like the teams that aren't the top 3 teams in the league, or 4, I guess, San Antonio, Houston, Cleveland, and Golden State. Arguably, OKC can be thrown in there, who, by the way, are listed at number 7 in the power rankings from NBA.com and ESPN. So, the other teams that aren't them are getting a lot closer. They're getting a lot tighter. They're getting a lot better.
Yeah, they're catching up. It's good to see that,
but
though. It's good
it's
to see
still not enough
competition.
progress for the next. Like this year, next year, those 5-6 teams we mentioned, they're still going to dominate.
Yes,
They're still going to dominate.
And regardless of Orlando being 3-1 right now, don't count on them making the postseason. Don't count Milwaukee on even having a top 5 finish.
Listen,
this year.
and I always equate that to the NHL because the season is about the same length. A good start to a season does not a playoff run make, right? Look
100%.
at what happens every year to the Toronto Maple Leafs, to the Montreal Canadiens. Come out of the gate strong. Not so much this year for the Canadiens. They're like an 0-7 start. Not good. Which maybe sparks change because they always struggle and they're fighting for that last playoff spot. So having a great start does not mean you're getting in the playoffs, right? I mean, anything can happen. Injuries can happen. Other teams start figuring out what it is that you're doing that's special this year. Mind you, Toronto looks amazing this year. I hate saying that as a Montreal fan, but the Leafs are insane. But like same thing in the NBA. 82 games they play? 82 games. So they like those first few games. You're feeling stuff out. You're seeing what works. Other teams, like smarter teams, the Cavaliers, they're playing with a couple of different guys, playing in different positions, whatever. Sometimes they're just like, let's just go out there and have some fun and see what works, see what doesn't, put on a show. We'll start worrying about the playoffs about midway through the season, and we're going to make it anyway because we're the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I'm LeBron James. See you later.
Before we did get a little in depth with that, but you were saying, how do I like Toronto at number 7? 2-2. This team I knew this was going to start to happen. This team, after the year that they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, I said, okay, if they don't make it out this year, which they didn't, this is going to be the year that this team starts to decline, and you're seeing that now.
Well, 2-2, they started the year 2-0, so they, you know what I mean? Like that's a huge boost to Toronto, and they absolutely thumped the Sixers, wasn't it?
Yep.
Like it was like a 30-point spread on that game, I think.
And Philadelphia's still in 13th place in the league.
Like I'm just saying, right now Toronto's in a playoff spot, but they've played 4 games, so it's too early to say that they're a playoff team. But really, the expectation is the Toronto Raptors are going to make the playoffs. I think across the board, everybody expects the Raptors to be in the playoffs.
And I won't count them in this year. No, this is the year that they're going to choke because they've had opportunities and they're just not getting it done. The coaching is not the problem.
Really? Okay, so the coaching is not the problem.
Dwayne Casey knows they need a new point guard. Kyle Lowry is on the decline of his career now. It's just
and how's DeRozan? Like what do you think?
I
of
don't
DeRozan?
know.
Like, he's playing solid ball. He's just not.
He's just not the guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
I remember a couple years ago he played in the All-Star game, and I asked him, like I tweeted at him, I was like, "Hey man, you only played 6 minutes in the All-Star game. Like, did you even shower after the game?" So I was just like, I don't know. Like, he just doesn't hold his own with the rest of the NBA superstars. I get it. He plays you see the way this guy plays. He dunks on people aggressively.
Yeah, and he has fun. Like, you see the smile on his face after he makes a big play. So he's playing with passion. He's playing with heart.
He needs another guy. You know what?
He needs. Yeah.
Yeah, he needs.
I think to your point, guy. Like he loves Lowry, loves playing with Lowry, but Lowry not producing like
they haven't supported him and. I'm glad that you said that and we clicked here with that one because it's like they didn't surround Vince Carter with enough talent when he was there. And then the guy left for New Jersey, and then Alonzo Mourning didn't even show up after he got traded to Toronto. Just like talked to his agent and said, "Get me out of this place." Didn't even report to Toronto. Just went to Miami.
Yeah, crazy. Give me 30 seconds. What's your take on the Hayward ankle break? How gross was that?
Oh, that was heartbreaking. Like I can't believe that's the way you wanted to start off a new beginning.
Played like 6 minutes of your first game of a whole season. Bye. See you later.
heartbreaking. And he wasn't the type of guy who deserved something like that to happen. He didn't leave Utah saying like, I hate it here, I don't want to play here, like we don't win, they got to bring people in. That guy gave Utah, his heart, his soul. And you know what? There's just sometimes that like their city's not going to hold it against him for leaving, I just feel my heart was really sunk for Gordon Hayward. He didn't deserve that.
That's fair.
Yeah, but
All
injuries happen all the time.
We got to move on. We're running out of time here, so let's get to the last segment really quickly. You are watching the CanSports1 Hour on CanSports1.ca and the CS1 Network. Special thanks to our sponsors today, CanSportsOne Foundation, helping kids play organized sports, the new Spades Sound Ent Entertainment, Bring in the Noise, and A Little Pizza Heaven, the best pizza this side of heaven. This brings us to the sports pages, brought to you by the CanSportsOne Foundation. CanSportsOne Foundation, helping kids play organized sports, and I can't stress that enough. Wait until we're going to get the thing up on the site soon where you can actually just donate to it. Get on board with that. We're literally going to pay the registration fee for kids that can't afford to play organized sports. So that's what we're doing there. Let's read some sports headlines. We have a few stories to talk about. First of all, there was a story about this gentleman in the UK. He was caught streaming Sky Sports online, like he paid for the subscription, whatever, and then streamed it online so other people could
pay him.
Well, I'm not even sure if he did it. I think he just was one of those guys that information should be free, blah, 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 whatever. Either way, he was illegally streaming the game. He got caught. They found him, and he was ordered to pay 16,000 pounds, British pounds, which works up like $3,200 or $32,000 Canadian-ish.
Yeah, exactly.
That's he had a quote unquote well-known piracy blog, so he was illegally streaming these things through Sky Sports. So, what's your take on that? Like,
it's interesting. I mean, it made the magnitude of that maybe not as big as what I'm about to discuss here with you, but now since we have press box access to Winnipeg Jets home games. I was reading on our credential passes on the back saying that, we're not allowed to, take pictures and stuff like that with, players that are in the press box and so on. So it's I kind of see why they came down heavy on him, right? Sky Sports in the UK, Sky Sports, I grew up a big-time cricket player up until I was 19 from the time I was 5. So I know about Sky Sports and how big they are in England. I mean, they cover everything. And they're the TSN of England. I mean, they're on everybody's they're a national general cable feed. So it's just automatic that you have them. So it doesn't surprise me that they came down on them like that. I mean, TSN would come down on us if we just decided that we would do something like that. So with their graphics and I get the information. Yes, the information. Yes, it should be free. Maybe Sky Sports should just find another way to just have people have free access to it. But no, I wouldn't. I don't think us as a company would be appreciative if somebody took our information and streamed it live for them without our consent and permission. I'm sure that there could have been, when you said piracy policy, I'm sure that he could have had a contract negotiation with Sky Sports, and the way would have some sort of collaboration where they all could have been happy and everybody could have made money.
Well, fair. I looked it up just now. The gentleman is from Bristol. And he had to pay damages to Sky Sports and disclose details about the money he made and people he colluded with. So, it's a civil case though. It's not a criminal case. He's not being charged criminally. It's not like jail is a possibility or anything like that. It's literally a lawsuit. It's a civil case. So it's about the money lost. They're not charging him as a thief. They're suing him for making money off of them. So that is what's going on. That's crazy. That 16,000 pounds, 32,000 Canadian dollars ish, give or take. That's a lot of dollar bills for having streamed some sports online, which again, I totally get it. This is a really good story. Let's switch gears here.
This is a beautiful. I like this one.
Right here in Winnipeg, actually, it's happening here. New sports hijabs hit the hardwood at Winnipeg High School, and it's at Dakota Collegiate. there's 2 Muslim high school students that are trying to make other Muslim women who wear hijabs for religious purposes feel comfortable in playing sports. There was some controversy. She was trying to play basketball. She was playing, and she wears the hijab, which has like this pin that holds it down, and the pin was actually the problem for the officials, as it could, you get bumped, it could stab you, it could poke other players. I play soccer, and I'm not, I used to wear an earring when I was younger. You can't wear earrings, or you have to either take them up or take them out. You can't wear bracelets, you can't wear necklaces, anything that can get caught on another person or pull or like cause injury to you or an opponent has to be removed. So I don't think it was an unreasonable request for them to ask to take the pin out, which was, I think, what the issue was, but she wouldn't, because it wouldn't have held her hijab on and it would have fallen off, and she preferred to wear it. So she went out and developed with her sister this athletic hijab with her school logo on it. So, and it holds it all on and everything. So she doesn't have to worry about it. There's no pins. There's no worry to other people. And I think it sets up other Muslim girls coming up behind her to not avoid sports because of having to choose between being an athlete or their religion, essentially, what they wear for their religious attire.
It's a beautiful story all the way around. I mean, myself being a St. Vital kid, Dakota Collegiate, not too far from my house, drive by there every day, and you see there was been so much going on at Dakota Collegiate these last few years, from seeing a cricket pitch go up. So that was like, oh wow, like what kind of kids really go to this school? The influx of immigrant kids that came into the school, that there was enough for them to start a cricket team. And then I saw a brand new football field go up there. So like, I mean, wherever like good things are happening at Dakota. I mean, you saw it in the athletics department. Now you see it culturally for the kids. I mean, this is a beautiful story for this young lady. And I mean, the entire Muslim community in Winnipeg is really going to give her praise. Hands down, like there's nothing else to say about it now. She has made it easier and opened the door for other girls.
And kudos to Dakota Collegiate as well, because they actually placed a custom order for her with the Lancer logo, the Dakota mascot, the Lancer logo, with all the colors to match the school stuff, and like good on them. It's good on them.
It's great. I mean, and especially they're embracing the fact of, I mean, everybody knows with Justin Trudeau, talking about the Syrian refugees that we're going to be welcoming into our country and so on and things like that. This is just a way of helping them feel comfortable, helping them feel socially accepted. So this is great. It's a beautiful story all the way around. I couldn't be happier. When you pulled that up this morning, that was great to see that. I mean, girls in that school are going to be very happy. And you know what? Like, I hate to look at it this way, but it just makes it easier for, like, everyone now, right? Like, these girls don't have to, like, worry about anything now. It's like, okay, this is a part of it, and I'm going to go play that.
Now I can just play sports. I don't have to be worried about it. Yeah. That's great. I love it. Yeah. I love it. And it sends a great message that the school was so supportive of it. So that's good. Let's move on. We have very little time left. Really quickly, the Grey Cup is a month away. It's sold out already.
Doesn't surprise me. I remember traveling to Alberta in Grey Cup 2000 and it was during the Grey Cup 2007, I believe, and I remember all these people were coming back from out east on the way back out west, and sharing all these stories with people who just hop on buses just to get to the Grey. It was crazy. I never knew that the Grey Cup, people,
it's a party, man.
It's a huge,
and it's in Ottawa this year. At Ottawa are the defending Grey Cup champs, having won it here in Winnipeg.
Yeah,
last year. So I think it's really cool for them. It's already sold out. That's huge. Tickets were still available for the Winnipeg Grey Cup come game day, so that was...
Third parties are definitely going to be out there, definitely trying to get the last ticket seekers, last-minute ticket seekers.
Yeah. I mean, but having a sold-out Grey Cup a month ahead of the game, that's awesome for Canadian football. It's awesome for just sports in Canada, and Ottawa being defending champs probably didn't hurt.
No,
right? It's coming home, and they got a chance of repeating, right? So
that's huge.
I know. Let's see how this goes. Let's see how the playoffs go for Ottawa. So that's just a big thing. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's all the time we have today. This has been the CanSports 1 Hour. I want to thank our technical director Jordan Proctor, as well as my co-host Narv Mulchand, and I am Mark Adam. We will see you next week for another episode of the CanSports 1 Hour here on CanSports1.ca and the CS1 network.
Thank you.